In this video, I'm about to show you 40 secrets that Walmart is hiding from you about their food, starting off with number 40, peanut butter. Peanut butter, it's supposed to be one of those comfort foods you can trust. A jar in the pantry, waiting for toast or a late night snack. But here's the secret Walmart doesn't want front and center. Their great value peanut butter has a dark history. Back in 2007, the FDA uncovered a Salmonella outbreak tied to peanut butter that sickened over 600 people in 47 states. More than 100 ended up in the hospital. The supplier? Conagra Foods, which also produced jars for Walmart's great value label. In other words, families thought they were saving money on a safe staple, when in reality, they were spreading salmonella on their kids' sandwiches. Now here's the sneaky part. Recalls like this often happen quietly. Unless you were digging through FDA notices, you'd never know that jar in your kitchen was part of the tainted batch. Walmart will technically post the recall online, but how many shoppers actually check the recall page before making lunch? The truth is, even safe staples like peanut butter aren't always safe. And when a company the size of Walmart is cutting deals with giant suppliers, it's the customer who ends up taking the risk. Number 39, toxic pesticide residues. When you walk into Walmart's produce section, the strawberries glisten, the apples shine, and everything looks farm fresh. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Behind that shine are toxic pesticide residues that can stay on your food even after washing. The Environmental Working Group, EWG, publishes an annual list called The Dirty Dozen, which ranks fruits and vegetables with the highest pesticide contamination. Year after year, Walmart bestsellers like strawberries, spinach, apples, and grapes top that list. In 2023, tests revealed that nearly 99% of conventionally grown strawberries contained at least one pesticide, and some samples had residues from up to 22 different chemicals. That's not a typo, 22. Why does this matter? Many of these pesticides are linked to serious long-term health problems, endocrine disruption, neurological issues, and even cancer. Seniors are particularly vulnerable because exposure builds up over decades. And while Walmart offers organic alternatives, they're often placed side by side with the cheaper, contaminated produce, making it easy to pick the bargain without realizing the hidden cost. So the next time you're tempted by that shiny pint of strawberries at Walmart, remember, the real secret isn't the price tag. It's the chemical cocktail riding along with every bite. Number 38, mercury in canned tuna. Tuna has always been a pantry staple. Quick, cheap protein in a can. But here's the secret most shoppers don't realize. Walmart's great value canned tuna can pack dangerous levels of mercury, a toxic heavy metal that builds up in your body over time. The FDA and EPA have long warned about mercury in fish, especially larger species like albacore. Independent testing has confirmed that some cans of tuna sold at Walmart, particularly white albacore tuna, contain mercury levels approaching or even exceeding the safe limit of 0.5 parts per million. That's the threshold health experts say becomes risky, especially for seniors, children, and pregnant women. Why is this so dangerous? Mercury targets the nervous system, leading to memory loss, tremors, fatigue, and long-term neurological damage. In seniors, it can worsen issues like brain fog or balance problems that are already concerns with aging. And the scary part? You won't taste a thing. Mercury is invisible, odorless, and impossible to detect without lab testing. Walmart doesn't put warning labels on its cans. To the average shopper, it's just tuna. But the data is clear. Too much of it, especially the albacore variety, is a hidden health landmine sitting right there on the shelf. Number 37, baby food. You'd think baby food of all things would be the safest product on the shelf. But here's a disturbing truth. Many baby food brands sold at Walmart have been found to contain toxic heavy metals like lead, arsenic, cadmium, and mercury. In 2021, a U.S. House subcommittee investigation released a bombshell report. Testing revealed that some popular baby foods contained heavy metals at hundreds of times higher than what experts consider safe. Brands like Gerber and Beechnut, both sold in Walmart aisles nationwide, were specifically named. To make matters worse, internal documents from these companies showed they knew about the contamination levels but kept selling the products anyway. Why does this matter for Walmart shoppers? Because heavy metals don't just wash off or cook out. They build up in the body over time, and while the spotlight is usually on babies, the same toxins can affect anyone. Lead and arsenic damage the brain, weaken the immune system, and increase cancer risk. Seniors, who already face age-related health challenges, are particularly vulnerable to cumulative exposure. So while Walmart shelves might promise trusted baby foods, the data proves otherwise. Number 36. Walmart's frozen shrimp. Shrimp is the most popular seafood in America, and Walmart sells it by the ton. But here's the secret. Much of that frozen shrimp in Walmart freezers comes from overseas farms tied to serious health and labor violations. Investigations by groups like the Associated Press and The Guardian have traced shrimp sold at Walmart back to farms in Thailand, Vietnam, and India, where antibiotics are overused, water is contaminated, and labor abuses are rampant. In one AP report, shrimp suppliers linked to Walmart were caught using slave labor in Thailand's fishing industry, where workers were literally forced onto boats to harvest feed for shrimp farms. On the health side, lab testing has repeatedly found imported shrimp containing antibiotic residues and banned chemical substances not allowed in U.S. farmed seafood. The FDA has rejected shipments at the border, but many slip through and end up in the frozen section at Walmart. Here's the kicker. Shoppers see the Great Value label, or farm-raised tag, and assume it's a safe, affordable protein. In reality, some of that shrimp carries a hidden cost, from contaminated ponds to human exploitation that Walmart doesn't put on the package. Number 35. Frozen meals. Frozen dinners are supposed to be quick and easy, a lifesaver on busy nights. But the truth is, many of Walmart's Great Value frozen meals are loaded with dangerously high levels of sodium, far beyond what health experts recommend. According to USDA nutrition databases, a single serving of Great Value's popular lasagna or macaroni and cheese dinner can pack in 1,200 to 1,500 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half of the American Heart Association's daily limit in just one meal. Some entrees even creep close to 2,000 milligrams, which is nearly a full day's worth of salt. Why does this matter? Excess sodium is one of the leading drivers of high blood pressure, which in turn raises the risk of heart attack, stroke, and kidney failure. For seniors, who are often already managing hypertension, these meals aren't just unhealthy, they're dangerous. And because the portions are small, most people eat the whole tray, not realizing they've just swallowed a salt bomb. Walmart promotes these meals as affordable convenience. But the real secret is that hidden sodium makes them anything but a safe bargain. Behind the low price tag lurks a health cost that could shorten your life. Number 34. Oats. You'd never imagine starting your day with a dose of weed killer, but that's exactly what happens when you grab certain oat products off Walmart shelves. Independent tests from the Environmental Working Group found that many oat cereals, granolas, and instant packets, including Walmart's Great Value oatmeal, contain traces of glyphosate, the same chemical used in Roundup. Here's the twist. Oats aren't just exposed to glyphosate during farming. In many cases, they're deliberately sprayed right before harvest to dry them faster. That means the chemical doesn't just touch the crop, it soaks into it. By the time it lands in your cereal bowl, glyphosate is baked right into the oats themselves. The World Health Organization has classified glyphosate as a probable carcinogen. Researchers link long-term exposure to cancer, hormone disruption, and gut issues. But instead of a warning label, Walmart markets these oats as a heart-healthy choice. So the next time you see that wholesome packaging with golden grains, remember, the hidden ingredient could be the very chemical farmers wear protective suits to spray in the fields. Number 33. Expired meat repackaging. When you buy meat at Walmart, the bright label promises fresh. But court records and health department inspections show otherwise. Walmart has faced multiple lawsuits and state investigations over expired meat being relabeled with new dates. In 2015, the state of California fined Walmart nearly $66,000 after inspectors discovered meat and dairy products with altered sell-by dates on store shelves. In Louisiana, a 2011 lawsuit detailed how Walmart employees were instructed to place new stickers over expired labels instead of discarding the product. Local health inspectors in Texas have issued citations for the same practice, noting that customers were unknowingly purchasing meat days beyond its safe consumption period. The health risk is obvious. Meat past its shelf life can harbor E. coli, Salmonella, and Listeria, bacteria that cause serious illness and even death. The CDC estimates 48 million Americans get sick from foodborne pathogens every year, and mislabeled meat only adds fuel to that fire. Walmart's website claims, "We never compromise on freshness," yet the documented cases and fines tell a different story. Some fresh meat on those shelves has already expired once, and been quietly given a second chance with a new label. Number 32. Walmart's rice. Rice seems harmless enough, a cheap side dish that shows up in pantries everywhere. But here's the unsettling truth. Rice naturally absorbs arsenic from soil and water, and Walmart's shelves are loaded with products that carry those hidden toxins. The FDA has tested hundreds of rice samples, including products commonly sold at Walmart under the Great Value brand. Their findings? Brown rice, rice cakes, and rice-based snacks often contain inorganic arsenic, the most dangerous form, at levels that raise long-term health risks. In fact, a Consumer Reports study found some rice products had arsenic concentrations high enough that eating them just a few times a week could push you past the safety threshold set for drinking water. Why does this matter? Long-term arsenic exposure is linked to cancer, heart disease, and weakened immune function. Seniors are especially vulnerable because the body's ability to detox heavy metals declines with age. And the kicker: cooking rice doesn't make the arsenic go away. Walmart promotes rice as a healthy, budget-friendly staple. But the data shows some of those everyday low prices come with a toxic side effect that can quietly damage your health over time. Number 31. Lettuce. You think you're making the safe choice, grabbing lettuce for a salad instead of fast food. But in Walmart's produce aisle, that healthy pick has a hidden history. Over the last decade, Walmart has been tied to multiple nationwide lettuce recalls triggered by dangerous E. coli outbreaks. One of the worst came in 2019, when romaine lettuce from Walmart suppliers infected 167 people across 27 states. Of those, 85 ended up hospitalized and 5 people died. The CDC's investigation found the bacteria had contaminated lettuce in distribution before it even reached store shelves. By the time recalls were announced, families had already bought, stored, and eaten the product. Here's the unsettling truth. Walmart technically posts recall notices online, but how many shoppers ever check them? Most customers never hear about the problem until it's too late. Seniors, in particular, face the greatest danger. E. coli infections can cause kidney failure, hemolytic uremic syndrome, a condition that can kill. So while the packaging promises farm fresh, the data tells another story. Walmart lettuce has been at the center of recalls that sent dozens to the hospital and left some families grieving loved ones. Number 30. Wild-caught fish. Seafood shoppers pay extra for one label, wild caught. It's supposed to mean the fish was pulled from open waters, not raised in crowded pens. But Walmart has been caught selling seafood as wild caught when it wasn't. In 2012, a class action lawsuit accused Walmart of mislabeling farm-raised salmon as wild. The complaint pointed to independent DNA and supply chain testing that showed the truth. Some of the fish labeled as wild had actually come from overseas aquaculture farms. By the time the case reached court, Walmart quietly pulled certain mislabeled packages, but the damage was done. And it's not just salmon. Watchdog investigations have flagged Walmart's seafood section for fish traced back to Chinese and Vietnamese suppliers where wild-caught claims are nearly impossible to verify. Even the Oceana study, which DNA tested fish from major U.S. retailers, found that 1 in 3 samples was mislabeled, and Walmart was no exception. For customers, this isn't a small slip. Wild-caught fish is often chosen because it's lower in contaminants, higher in omega-3s, and free from the antibiotics used in farm ponds. Walmart's secret is that some shoppers paying for premium quality may have been served a farmed knockoff instead. Number 29. Frozen pizza. Frozen pizza is supposed to be the ultimate quick fix. Pop it in the oven and dinner's ready. But here's what Walmart doesn't put on the box. Their great value frozen pizzas can pack an entire day's worth of fat and sodium in a single sitting. According to USDA nutrition data, one great value rising crust pepperoni pizza contains around 3,200 calories if you eat the whole thing, and let's be honest, most people do. That's more than many adults need in an entire day. On top of that, it delivers over 70 grams of fat and 6,400 milligrams of sodium. For comparison, the American Heart Association recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium per day, meaning one Walmart pizza nearly triples the safe limit. The kicker? These pizzas are often marketed as family size, but the serving sizes on the label are laughably unrealistic. Cutting it into 6 slices doesn't magically erase the fact that eating even 2 or 3 pieces can blow past your daily sodium allowance. So while Walmart sells these pies as cheap, convenient comfort food, The real secret is that one box can quietly derail your health in a single meal. Number 28. Cereal shrinkflation. Ever notice how your bowl seems emptier than it used to? No, you're not imagining it. Walmart cereals are literally disappearing. Not from your kitchen, from the box itself. A few years back, Great Value Toasted Oats came in a 19-ounce box. Then it quietly slipped to 17 ounces. Now in some stores, it's down to 15. Same bright packaging, same price tag, but less breakfast inside. Congratulations! You've just been shrinkflated. Consumer watchdogs have been tracking this trick for years, and Walmart has leaned on it harder than most. Why? Because almost nobody notices. Families still see the same familiar box, toss it in the cart, and never check the fine print. Meanwhile, ounce for ounce, you might actually be paying more for Walmart's budget cereal than for Kellogg's right next to it. So the next time your cereal runs out a little too soon, don't blame your appetite. Blame the disappearing act Walmart has perfected, charging you the same money for less and betting you'll never notice. Number 27. The Rollback illusion. Think Walmart's famous rollback prices are saving you money? Here's the twist. In many cases, those discounts aren't discounts at all. A study by the University of Illinois looked at Walmart's pricing patterns and found that products are often raised weeks before a rollback, only to be lowered back to their original price. In other words, the big yellow sign shouting rollback is sometimes just Walmart undoing its own markup. Take cereal, condiments, and pantry staples, categories where watchdog groups have tracked price hikes before sudden rollbacks. Shoppers walk away thinking they scored a bargain, when in reality they're paying almost the same as before, sometimes even more if they didn't buy it pre-hike. It's a clever psychological trick. The big bold signage, the smiley face, the word rollback itself, it all signals savings, whether or not the math backs it up, and most customers never question it. So while Walmart loves to market itself as the home of everyday low prices, the secret is that some rollbacks are nothing more than smoke and mirrors. The sign changes, but your wallet doesn't always benefit. Number 26. Great value milk. Walk into Walmart and grab a gallon of milk, and you'd assume you're getting the best bargain in town. After all, milk is one of those loss leaders retailers use to lure shoppers in, right? But here's the secret. Walmart's milk pricing isn't always the steal it pretends to be. According to USDA retail surveys, Walmart's great value milk often matches or even exceeds the cost of name brands when you break it down by ounce. In some regions, Walmart's gallon sells for more per ounce than the same milk at Kroger or Costco. The illusion comes from the shelf tag. The big low price signage makes you think you're saving, when in reality the numbers don't always add up. And here's the kicker. Walmart's sheer market dominance has allowed it to squeeze dairy farmers to sell at razor-thin margins. While shoppers sometimes pay more at the register, the farmers supplying that milk often make less. A 2018 USDA report highlighted how Walmart's direct sourcing strategy cut costs on their end, but drove down farm payouts across the country. So that gallon in your cart isn't just milk. It's a carefully priced illusion. Walmart wins, farmers lose, and customers aren't always getting the deal they think they are. Number 25. Meat inflation versus farmers. Over the past few years, Walmart shoppers have watched the price of beef and chicken climb higher and higher. A family pack of ground beef that once cost $12 now sits closer to $18. But here's the secret few realize. While Walmart charges you more, the farmers who actually raise the cattle and chickens are often earning less. According to USDA data from 2021 to 2023, retail beef prices rose by more than 20%, yet the share of the consumer dollar going back to ranchers fell below 40%, one of the lowest returns in decades. Meanwhile, major retailers like Walmart locked in supplier contracts at rock-bottom prices, insulating themselves while still passing inflated costs onto shoppers. For farmers, that means debt, foreclosures, and in many cases leaving the industry altogether. For customers, it means paying premium prices while being told supply chain issues are to blame. But the numbers show the squeeze isn't on Walmart, it's on the people producing the food. So every time you're hit with sticker shock at Walmart's meat counter, remember, the extra dollars aren't making it back to American farmers. They're vanishing into corporate margins instead. Number 24. Unit price manipulation. Here's a question. When you see Walmart's big, great value tag, do you ever check the unit price printed in tiny numbers on the shelf? Most shoppers don't, And that's exactly how Walmart gets away with one of its sneakiest pricing games. Consumer Reports has run comparisons showing that Walmart's great value products are sometimes more expensive per ounce than the name brands sitting right next to them. A jar of great value peanut butter might look cheaper at $3.29 than Jif at $3.99 until you notice that the Walmart jar is smaller. Ounce for ounce, the budget choice can actually cost more. It's not an accident. Walmart knows most people glance at the big price tag, not the fine print. The company banks on the illusion of savings, bold signs, familiar packaging, and the psychology of the word value. But when you crunch the numbers, the math often says otherwise. So the next time you're in Walmart, don't just grab the cheapest looking item. Read the fine print. Because in this game of unit pricing, the great value isn't always a value at all. Number 23, rotisserie chicken. Walk into Walmart hungry, and you'll smell it before you see it. Those golden brown rotisserie chickens spinning behind the deli counter. At $4.98, they look like one of the last true bargains in the store. But here's the secret. That chicken isn't there to save you money. It's there to make Walmart money. Retail analysts call it a loss leader. Walmart actually sells those chickens at or even below cost. Why? Because the moment you grab one, odds are you're picking up potato wedges, dinner rolls, soda, or desserts to go with it. Those sides carry fat margins, and that's where Walmart cashes in. It works, too. A 2022 report on grocery behavior showed that shoppers who buy rotisserie chickens end up spending 25% more per trip than those who don't. The $5 bird is bait, plain and simple. Now think about it from a prepper's perspective. In a blackout or crisis, that bargain chicken is useless, it spoils in hours. Meanwhile, you've spent more money on sides that won't last either. Walmart's cheap chicken isn't a gift, it's a carefully designed trap to get you spending more, not less. Number 22, everyday low prices. Walmart's entire brand hangs on one phrase, everyday low prices. Say it enough times, and people believe it. But the data shows that promise is more marketing than reality. Price audits by Bloomberg and independent consumer groups have compared Walmart staples to competitors like Aldi, Costco, and even regional grocers. The findings? Walmart is cheaper on some items, but far from all. In fact, on basics like milk, eggs, and cereal, Walmart prices were often higher than Aldi's by 10 to 15%, and sometimes even edged above Costco's bulk rates. So much for always low. The trick is selective pricing. Walmart discounts high-visibility items like bananas or bread, just enough to make you believe the whole cart is a bargain. Meanwhile, less obvious products, from condiments to cleaning supplies, quietly cost more. It's a psychological game. Grab one cheap staple, assume everything else is equally discounted, and you never notice the overcharges piling up. So next time you see that big blue sign promising everyday low prices, remember, it might be true for a few items. For the rest, you could be paying more and never realize it. Number 21. Buying bulk. We've all been trained to believe bulk equals savings. Bigger pack, lower price per unit, that's just common sense, right? Not at Walmart. Here's the trap. Sometimes the bulk item actually costs more per ounce than buying the smaller version. Consumer Reports and retail price audits have exposed multiple cases. For example, a 6-pack of great value yogurt cups often rings up at a higher price per ounce than just grabbing single cups. Same story with condiments, paper products, even cereal. The big box looks like a deal, but the fine print tells a different story. Why does this happen? Walmart relies on shoppers skipping the unit price label, that tiny number printed in the corner of the shelf tag. Most people see the bigger package, assume it's cheaper, and toss it in the cart. Walmart doesn't correct you because the illusion of savings works in their favor. So next time you're standing in the aisle, don't trust your instincts. At Walmart, buying big can quietly drain your wallet faster than buying small. Number 20. Seasonal price gouging. Every year it happens, and every year most shoppers miss it. Right before the holidays, Walmart quietly jacks up the price of seasonal staples, the things you can't avoid buying. Candy in October, baking goods in November, party snacks in December. According to Consumer Price Index tracking, items like flour, sugar, butter, and chocolate chips often see price hikes of 10 to 20% in the weeks leading up to Thanksgiving and Christmas. Analysts have noted the exact same pattern for candy before Halloween and soda before the Super Bowl. Once the holiday rush is over, prices slide back down. The strategy is simple. Walmart knows demand will surge no matter what. Families need these products to cook traditional meals and stock up for gatherings. Instead of competing to lower prices, Walmart rides the wave, squeezing extra profit out of the busiest shopping weeks of the year. So while the signs in the aisle might scream holiday savings, the data says otherwise. At Walmart, traditions come at a premium, and the timing of those price spikes isn't an accident. Number 19. Organic label premiums. When shoppers see that green and white organic label in Walmart's aisles, they think they're making a smarter, healthier choice. But here's the twist. Studies show Walmart's organic items often cost more than the same products at Whole Foods, the very chain that's been mocked for years as Whole Paycheck. Market basket comparisons by Bloomberg and retail audits found that Walmart charges a hefty premium on staples like organic milk, eggs, and produce. In some cases, Walmart's great value organic items ran 15 to 20% higher than nearly identical products at Whole Foods or Aldi. For example, a gallon of organic milk at Walmart might sit at $6.29, while Whole Foods had the same at $5.79. The irony is brutal. Walmart markets itself as the low-price leader, but the second they slap organic on the label, the bargain disappears. Shoppers assume they're still saving compared to upscale grocers, and Walmart counts on that assumption to quietly overcharge. So, while the label might say organic, the real hidden ingredient is the premium Walmart bakes into the price. A premium many customers don't even realize they're paying. Number 18. Farmers' pressure. Behind every gallon of milk, every package of chicken, every carton of eggs at Walmart is a farmer. And here's the secret most customers never see. Those farmers are under enormous pressure because of Walmart's buying power. Walmart is the largest grocer in America, which means when it sets a price, suppliers have little choice but to take it. The USDA has reported that contracts with mega retailers like Walmart have pushed small and mid-sized farmers into debt, forcing them to accept razor-thin margins just to stay afloat. A 2018 Government Accountability Office review even found that some poultry growers locked into Walmart-linked contracts were making less than minimum wage once debts for feed and housing were factored in. For the shopper, this looks like cheap chicken or affordable eggs. But the hidden cost is farmer bankruptcies, families losing land, and entire communities hollowed out. Walmart promotes its supply chain as efficient. In reality, its efficiency built on squeezing the people who actually grow America's food. So the next time you pick up a carton at Walmart, remember, the bargain on the shelf may come directly out of a farmer's pocket. Number 17. Walmart's chicken supply scandal. That rotisserie chicken or family pack of drumsticks in Walmart's meat section seems simple enough. But behind the scenes, Walmart's chicken suppliers have been caught in a massive antitrust scandal, one that drove up prices for years. In 2020, the U.S. Department of Justice filed charges against executives from major poultry companies, accusing them of price fixing and bid rigging. Court filings revealed that some of the very suppliers tied to Walmart, including Tyson Foods and Pilgrim's Pride, had coordinated to keep chicken prices artificially high. The result? Shoppers paid inflated prices at checkout, while the companies pocketed billions. Walmart itself later filed lawsuits against multiple chicken producers, accusing them of collusion and overcharging on wholesale contracts. One of those cases ended in a $181 million settlement in 2021, with Walmart recouping part of what it had overpaid. But here's the catch. Customers never got that money back. The inflated prices had already been passed down to families buying chicken in Walmart stores. So while Walmart markets chicken as one of its affordable proteins, the reality is that customers were caught in the middle of a corporate conspiracy, paying more while the biggest players quietly rigged the market. Number 16. Walmart's beef and the Amazon. When you buy beef at Walmart, you probably assume it comes from American ranches. But here's the secret. Walmart has been tied to beef imports from Brazil, a country whose cattle industry is driving massive deforestation of the Amazon rainforest. NGO investigations, including reports from Greenpeace and Mighty Earth, have traced Walmart's beef supply chain back to Brazilian giants like JBS, a company repeatedly accused of sourcing cattle from illegally cleared Amazon land. In 2019, satellite data showed that suppliers linked to JBS cleared more than 100,000 hectares of rainforest, land critical for absorbing carbon and supporting indigenous communities. Yet beef from those same supply chains continued flowing into U.S. retailers, Walmart included. The environmental damage is only part of the story. Beef from deforested regions has been tied to higher risks of contamination and poor oversight. The US banned Brazilian beef imports in 2017 after repeated shipments failed safety inspections, only to lift the ban 2 years later under heavy industry pressure. So while Walmart markets beef as all-American grilling, the data shows some of it has traveled thousands of miles, carrying with it the destruction of rainforests and the hidden risks of a shaky global supply chain. Number 15, the Walmart store layout. Ever wonder why you can't walk into Walmart for just one thing? It's not bad self-control, it's the store design working exactly as planned. Retail studies from universities like Penn State and Cornell show that Walmart's floor layout is engineered to steer customers toward high-margin products before they ever reach the basics. This is why essentials like milk, bread, and eggs are pushed all the way to the back of the store. By the time you get there, you've already passed dozens of end caps stacked with soda, chips, and seasonal items. Then there's the power aisle strategy. Wide central lanes filled with big displays designed to slow you down and grab impulse buys. Eye-tracking research shows shoppers spend up to 20% more per trip when forced through these zones. Even the music tempo, the lighting, and the placement of bakery aromas are calculated to keep you lingering and spending. So when Walmart boasts about being efficient, it's not efficiency for you. It's efficiency in making sure your quick $20 trip turns into a $60 checkout. The layout is less about convenience and more about emptying your wallet. Number 14, Walmart's fresh bread. That warm smell of bread in Walmart's bakery section makes you think it just came out of the oven. But here's the secret. A lot of that fresh bread was actually par-baked in factories, frozen, shipped across the country, and then rebaked in-store. This practice is known in the industry as thaw and sell. Investigations into Walmart's bakery operations, including lawsuits filed by former employees, have revealed that much of the bread and pastry stock arrives frozen, not made fresh on site. All employees have to do is pop it into the oven to brown the crust and release that enticing aroma. Now, is it illegal? No, but it's misleading. Customers assume they're getting bakery-quality bread like a local shop, when in reality they're paying for reheated mass production. And the nutritional quality isn't the same either. Frozen dough often relies on extra preservatives and conditioners to survive long transport. So when Walmart signs say freshly baked, what they really mean is freshly rebaked. The bread may look golden and warm, but its real journey started weeks ago in a factory freezer. Number 13, Walmart's checkout lanes. You've made it through the aisles, stuck to your list, and you're almost free. Then you hit the checkout lane, and suddenly you're surrounded by candy bars, sodas, chips, and impulse snacks you never planned to buy. That's no accident. Retail psychology research shows checkout lanes are engineered for impulse spending. Walmart stocks them with high-sugar, high-fat items because studies show tired, distracted shoppers are most likely to grab just one more thing at the register. The CDC has even linked impulse junk food placement to higher obesity rates, especially in communities where Walmart is the dominant grocery option. It's a billion-dollar strategy. A 2019 Cornell University study found that customers exposed to checkout junk food bought 65% more unhealthy snacks than those in checkout lanes without them. Walmart knows it, and they designed their registers around it. So when you think, what's one candy bar? Remember that one more thing isn't a coincidence. It's Walmart's final trap before you leave the store, and it works on millions of shoppers every single day. Number 12, the bakery aroma trick. Step into Walmart and you know the smell. Warm bread, sweet cookies, maybe even cinnamon rolls. It hits you before you even see the bakery section. But here's the secret. Those aromas aren't just there by chance. They're part of a calculated strategy to make you spend more. Retail research has shown that food smells can boost sales by up to 30%. Walmart bakes bread and cookies throughout the day, not because they need to restock constantly, but because the smell triggers hunger and cravings. Even if you weren't planning on grabbing baked goods, that scent lures you closer. And it doesn't stop at the bakery. By the time you've added just one pack of muffins or cookies, you're also more likely to toss in high-margin extras like soda, ice cream, or snack packs to go with them. Studies from the Journal of Retailing show customers exposed to food scents make larger, less planned purchases compared to shoppers in unscented environments. So that comforting smell of fresh bread, it's less about feeding you, and more about feeding Walmart's bottom line. Number 11, eye-level shelf space. Ever wonder why the cereal you always grab is right at eye level? perfectly in reach, it's not because Walmart is trying to make shopping easier. It's because those spots are sold to the highest bidder. In the retail world, it's called slotting fees. Manufacturers pay Walmart big money to secure the shelves you see first. A 2020 analysis from the FTC revealed that companies pay thousands, sometimes millions per year, just to guarantee eye-level placement. Meanwhile, cheaper or even healthier options get shoved onto the top or bottom shelves, where fewer people ever look. The result? You're not just choosing that product, it was chosen for you. Walmart racks in profits twice. First from the slotting fee, and again from the sale itself. And because the big food companies are the only ones who can afford those prime spots, smaller brands often never make it in front of your eyes at all. So the next time you're staring at that perfectly placed box of cereal or jar of peanut butter, remember, Walmart isn't guiding you to the best choice, just the most profitable one. Number 10. Walmart's honey. Honey is supposed to be one of the purest foods in the world, straight from the hive, rich with enzymes and pollen. But testing has shown that much of the honey sold in big box stores like Walmart isn't really honey at all, in the traditional sense. In one large-scale investigation, researchers found that more than 3/4 of honey samples from major retailers had no pollen left inside. That means the honey had been ultra-filtered, a process that strips out pollen to the point where it's impossible to trace the source. Why would anyone do this? Because without pollen, there's no way to know where the honey really came from, or if it was blended, adulterated, or imported from places with poor quality controls. There's more. In recent years, Walmart has faced lawsuits over its so-called raw and organic raw honey after independent testing suggested it had been heated or processed, making it anything but raw. While cases were dismissed, the lab findings raised serious questions. The real sting is this: when you remove pollen and process honey, you also strip away the very nutrients and antioxidants that make it valuable in the first place. What's left behind? A jar of sugar syrup wearing a honey label. Number 9. Sushi. At first glance, grabbing a sushi tray from Walmart's deli case feels like a healthy, modern option. But here's the hidden risk. Multiple health inspections across the US have cited Walmart stores for improper handling of raw fish and rice, turning that sushi into a potential food safety hazard. The issue isn't just freshness, it's temperature control. Sushi rice has to be kept at very specific conditions to prevent bacterial growth, and raw fish must stay chilled at 41°F or below to remain safe. Yet inspection reports in states like Texas, Ohio, and Missouri have documented Walmart sushi counters where fish was stored too warm, rice was held at unsafe temperatures, or prep areas failed basic sanitation. Those violations create a perfect breeding ground for listeria, salmonella, and even parasites. For a young, healthy person, a bad sushi roll might mean a few miserable days. But for seniors, foodborne illness can be far more dangerous, even life-threatening. And unlike cooked foods, raw sushi gives bacteria a direct path to your body with no heat to kill it off. So while Walmart markets its sushi as freshly prepared, the truth is some of those trays have been flagged as anything but safe. Number 8. Cage-free eggs. In 2016, Walmart announced with great fanfare that it would go 100% cage-free by 2025, joining other big retailers in promising more humane sourcing. The move was praised at the time, but here's the secret. Almost a decade later, the shelves at Walmart are still dominated by conventional battery cage eggs. Watchdog groups like the Lever Foundation and Compassion in World Farming have tracked Walmart's progress and found the company lagging far behind competitors. While chains like Costco already source more than half of their eggs from cage-free systems, Walmart's percentages remain much lower, despite being the nation's largest grocer. The real issue is labeling. Walmart does sell cage-free and organic eggs, but they're placed right alongside massive stacks of cheaper caged eggs. Customers see the green labels and assume the company has shifted, when in reality, the vast majority of Walmart's egg sales are still from hens kept in cramped industrial cages. For shoppers who believed Walmart's promise, it feels like a bait and switch. And for consumers concerned about food quality, it's another reminder that Walmart's marketing doesn't always match what ends up in the cart. Number 7. Parmesan cheese. When you sprinkle Parmesan on your pasta, you probably picture aged cheese wheels from Italy, shaved down into fine crumbles. But if you've been buying Walmart's Great Value Parmesan, what you're really getting might be closer to a science experiment. because independent lab tests found it contains cellulose, a filler made from wood pulp. Now, cellulose isn't illegal. In small amounts, it helps keep cheese from clumping. But tests reported by Bloomberg in 2016 found Walmart's Great Value Parmesan contained as much as 8.8% cellulose, far higher than the 2 to 4% industry standard. That means nearly 1/10 of the cheese wasn't cheese at all. Why does it matter? Beyond the obvious deception, it highlights how Walmart's cheapest Italian-style Parmesan may be bulked up with filler to cut costs. Customers think they're getting pure Parmesan, but they're really paying for powdered cheese blended with processed plant fiber. So the next time you top off a dish with Walmart's Parmesan, remember, you may be adding more wood pulp than cheese to your dinner. That's not exactly what most people picture when they hear authentic Italian flavor. Number 6. Olive oil. If you've ever picked up a bottle of olive oil at Walmart, you probably assume you're buying something healthy, a golden staple of Mediterranean cooking packed with antioxidants and heart benefits. And when the label says extra virgin, you expect the highest grade, cold-pressed, unrefined, and 100% pure olive oil. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Much of what's sold as extra virgin on Walmart shelves doesn't actually qualify as extra virgin at all. Independent testing by the University of California, Davis Olive Center found that nearly 70% of imported extra virgin olive oils sold in U.S. supermarkets failed purity tests. Among those tested were brands Walmart carries, like Bertolli, Filippo Berio, and Pompeian. The results showed oils that were diluted with cheaper seed oils such as soybean or sunflower, or overheated and refined in processing, which strips away the very compounds that give real extra virgin olive oil its taste and health benefits. Here's why that matters. When you pay extra for a bottle marked extra virgin, you're buying it for quality. Real extra virgin olive oil is supposed to be loaded with antioxidants like polyphenols, which support heart health and reduce inflammation. Number 5. Walmart's salmon. Take a look at the salmon in Walmart's seafood case yet again. Bright, rich, pink, the picture of health. But here's the truth Walmart won't advertise. That color is manufactured, not natural. Most of the salmon Walmart sells isn't wild-caught. It's farmed in crowded pens overseas, and without special additives, the flesh would be a dull gray that nobody would want to buy. To fix that, Walmart's suppliers feed the fish pellets laced with synthetic colorants, chemicals like astaxanthin or canthaxanthin. These dyes don't improve nutrition, they simply paint the salmon pink so it looks like the wild version. Walmart doesn't tell you this at the counter. Packages are labeled as fresh Atlantic salmon, but nowhere do they disclose that the color comes from additives. Independent nutrition tests have also found that farmed salmon sold in Walmart carries fewer omega-3s and higher contaminant risks compared to genuine wild salmon. So when you buy salmon at Walmart, you're not paying for nature's work. You're paying for a fish-fed coloring agents just to trick your eyes. That glowing pink fillet is less about health, and more about Walmart making farmed seafood look like something it's not. Number 4. Gas packaging with meats. That deep red steak at Walmart's meat counter looks fresh, like it was cut just hours ago. But here's what Walmart doesn't tell you. Much of that color isn't natural at all. It's the result of gas packaging that keeps meat looking fresh long after it starts to age. Walmart suppliers use a process called modified atmosphere packaging, where carbon monoxide is pumped into the package. This gas binds to the myoglobin in the meat, locking in a bright cherry red color. The effect can last for weeks, even as the actual meat inside is deteriorating. The FDA has allowed this practice, but critics argue it's misleading and dangerous. Shoppers rely on color to judge freshness, and Walmart's bright red steaks and ground beef can give the impression of being days fresher than they really are. In reality, you could be taking home meat that's on the edge of spoilage, with no way to tell by sight alone. Walmart markets itself as providing fresh quality meats, but the truth is that color can be nothing more than a cosmetic trick. That beautiful red glow is less about freshness and more about Walmart keeping products on the shelf longer, no matter what's inside the package. Number 3. Ice cream. When you pick up a tub of Great Value ice cream at Walmart, you expect the same rich, creamy dessert you'd get from a premium brand. But here's the secret. Much of that ice cream is actually pumped full of air and stabilizers, leaving you with less food and more fluff. The ice cream industry calls this overrun, the amount of air whipped into the product. Premium brands keep overrun low, giving you dense, creamy texture with real milk fat. But tests on Great Value and other budget ice creams have found overruns as high as 50%. That means nearly half the tub is just air. Walmart markets it as a bargain, but ounce for ounce, you're paying for empty volume. And it's not just air. Walmart's cheaper ice creams are often stabilized with gums and emulsifiers like guar gum and mono, and diglycerides, plus corn syrup solids, all designed to hold structure without using more cream. The result is a product that melts faster, tastes thinner, and delivers fewer nutrients than real ice cream. So while Walmart's Great Value ice cream looks like a big, affordable tub, the truth is you're mostly buying whipped foam held together with additives, not the rich dairy treat you think you're taking home. Number 2. Guacamole. Pick up a tub of Walmart's Great Value guacamole, and the packaging screams fresh. The green color looks perfect, the texture looks just right, and it feels like something you could have mashed up at home. But here's the catch. That guacamole is often propped up by preservatives and chemical additives to keep it looking fresh for weeks. Independent testing and ingredient label reviews show Walmart's guacamole contains compounds like calcium chloride, a firming agent, and EDTA, a synthetic preservative used to keep the avocado from turning brown. These chemicals don't add flavor or nutrition, they're there to extend shelf life and trick your eyes into thinking the product is fresher than it really is. Real guacamole starts browning within hours, even in the fridge. Yet Walmart's tubs can sit in cold storage and still look bright green days, sometimes weeks after production. That isn't nature, it's chemistry. The problem is, customers believe they're getting authentic avocado dip. Instead, they're paying for a product that's been engineered to resist spoilage, sacrificing freshness for convenience. When Walmart says fresh, what they really mean is chemically stabilized to look fresh long past its natural life. Number 1. Walmart's pickles and peppers. Walk through Walmart's aisles and grab a jar of pickles, peppers, or relish. They look vibrant. Neon green cucumbers, bright red peppers, even unnaturally yellow banana peppers. But here's the shocking part. Much of that color isn't natural. Walmart's private label and some national brands on their shelves have been flagged for using synthetic petroleum-based dyes like Yellow 5, Yellow 6, and Blue 1 to make products look fresh and uniform. These dyes don't make the food taste better or last longer. They're there to trick your eyes. Without them, those pickles would look dull, and the peppers would lose their supermarket shine. The FDA allows these additives, but multiple studies have linked them to hyperactivity in children, allergic reactions, and possible carcinogenic effects. Walmart doesn't disclose this reality in big letters on the front of the jar. It's hidden in the fine print of the ingredients list, where most shoppers never look. Customers think they're buying a wholesome, vinegar-preserved vegetable, but instead they're getting produce propped up with lab-made coloring agents designed to mask what's really in the jar. The end result? What looks like crisp, fresh produce is really a chemical illusion, one Walmart would rather you never notice.